Fast forward now 30 years for me, a group of the most determined athletes I ever had the pleasure to be associated with. It took all of observing one practice to fall in love with them. The 1996 Elgin Lady Maroons state runner-up basketball team. A team described by one teammate where the leaders of that team supported and encouraged all their teammates instead of a single player. This team that had success, that did not come overnight, and not just for one season. It took practice, dedication from AA youth ball on up. A core that overcame many types of adversities and disappointments. They had 3 sectionals, 2 finals ending in heartbreaking losses. But they persevered, setting up the 95-96 season. One in which they achieved their 4th conference undefeated season, one in which their only loss was to an Iowa team that finished 3rd in their state tournament. Then came their run to the state finals, with many thrilling games, particularly those 2 at the Larkin sectional, capped off by what will ever be known as the shot. It is my pleasure to introduce their head coach, my friend and Elgin Sports Hall of Fame 2006 inductee, Lee Turek.
I'd like to congratulate the recipients today and their families, everybody that had anything to do with this banquet. I know all the hard work it takes. I would really like to congratulate them, and this is one heck of a situation and place to be, and I'm very proud to be here today. Thank you, Mark. It's been 21 years, seems like yesterday, and the Hall of Fame, thank you very much for honoring our 95-96 Lady Maroons basketball team. We're definitely honored to be here today. I personally want to thank the parents of the players for making this possible. The parents went through quite a bit of dedication over the years. Their commitment is what helped it be an exceptional experience. Another thank you goes out to our dedicated coaches during that period of time, especially Coach Scharf, Coach Pete Sauter, Coach Brad Dottisman, and the late Tim Davis. Without them, again, we would not be here today. It's a team effort. The memories are many, and without sounding cocky, we knew years before this was a special group. Basically, our part was don't screw it up, and we certainly tried not to. Not only is a special group, but the individuals today are very successful human beings. The journey started at the Salvation Army League down the street to the so-called traveling team without a home court. This group developed. There was no rec center 21 years ago. Under the guidance of Ed Schock, the group played teams from everywhere and anywhere. Many teams 1 and 2 years older than our girls. The team's success was obvious, and the reputation back then was growing. And I want to thank Ed, who's not here today. He's ill, for all his time and effort and help throughout the years. During this time, the team bonding and family get-togethers continued. The pizzas and dinners were important for this development especially. Thanks to the organizers of this, Barb Halleck and my wife Jo Turek. This was a big part of our overall success. Now, a little bit of deja vu about the anticipated season. The headlines I remember before the season started from the local newspaper, "Is this a normal year?" Normal being state finals being held at ISU. Clearly, the expectations were high, and the monkey was on our back all season. Throughout the season, the team was nationally ranked in the top 10, as were in the state number 1 and number 2 all season long. The IHSA, for many years, had directed this team west when on the way to the state finals. So we scouted that way. But this year it changed. It was not making that road any easier, for sure. We had our directions set more eastern, and we played a sectional at Larkin High School. It only happens to be 3 of the top 10 teams in the state were in this sectional final. The top 4 teams there. Anyway, after rolling through the regionals, I won't even waste our time there. Because, quite honestly, I'm not even going to waste your time throughout the season, because every game was, how can I play the starters at least half the game without everybody be upset with Coach Turek because he's running up a score. And you know you're going to need these players later on in the season. Anyway, we had a first game of the regionals against Hersey High School, all-stater, I remember her name, Abby Willenberg. This was a tough game. Came down to a couple plays at the end of the game, and we defeated them in a very close game. Then the sectional finals at Larkin, again, packed gym. In overtime, we defeated Buffalo Grove. Next stop, we'd been there 2 years before, Super Sectionals. This stop was in Palatine. We had lost the previous 2 Super Sectionals going out west to Dixon and Sterling. We lost to Freeport High School. Well, it wasn't going to happen this year. We defeated Naperville North with a strong second half performance. The monkey was off our back. Finally, to the state finals. This is where everybody expected us to be. We're there. The first game was against National High School Power, Marshall High School. This Marshall High School team had many state championships. They'd been there before. Many Division I players on this team. Many thought, hey, that's Elgin's game. They're done. Season's over. Well, didn't happen. Strong performance by our team, a team that looked like they had been there before. That's us. We defeated Marshall High School 61-52 in the first game downstate. Now, come Saturday, 2 games. First game against undefeated Morris High School. Well, this was the second game of the semifinals. We weren't going to get much rest. I was hoping this was going to be a weak game, a game where maybe we could have it over early, but foul trouble hurt us a lot. We won the game handily, but I wasn't able to rest players for the championship game. We won handily by 12 points. Next game, the big one. We're playing against the reigning state champions, Stevenson High School. Stevenson had tremendous players. This was number 1 against number 2, what everybody wanted. Both nationally ranked teams. This game also pitted, which is somewhat unusual, 4 of the top 5 players in the state of Illinois in one game. Elgin, Leslie Schock, Melissa Parker, and Stevenson, Katie Coleman, Taja Ketchings. Later, Parker and Coleman and Ketchings went on to play at the University of Illinois, and Leslie Schock went on to play at Northwestern University. Well, needless to say, we lost the game. I think the experience that the state champions had was probably the difference in that particular game. As a side note, I know summer doesn't mean anything. We did beat that team 2 out of 3 times in summer competition. But we didn't get it done, obviously, when we wanted to. We were denied that victory in the championship, and it still hurts today, quite honestly. I've never watched that game on TV or on the tape, and I probably never will. There were many high school accomplishments by this particular group, some of which Coach Sharp mentioned in the past, and I'll just reiterate a couple of them. There were 4 straight undefeated conference championships. We were the champions of the Thanksgiving tournament in Wheaton. We were champions of the Wheaton North Christmas tournament. We had been to 3 super sectionals in a row. 31 wins and 2 losses during that season. Many, many, many positive experiences, and I want to thank everybody for the ride. So now while I'm standing here, I'd like to have the ladies, as I call them, come forward to the podium, right down here, and Coach Sharp will present you with your certificate of recognition. All right, we'll start out with, we've got 8 girls here today, or 8 girls here today, and I'd like to recognize each individually. First girl up here, please come up, Julie Janota. She was a junior guard on this particular team, gave us many tremendous minutes in the game, started her senior year, and when she went into the game, she kept the rhythm of the game going, and we never were a step behind, that's for sure. Congratulations, Julie. Next up, Carly Kirkpatrick. All right, do you still like to be called Carl?
Sure.
There you go. Best known, as Coach Sharp mentioned, for the shot. Now, this shot came in overtime against Buffalo Grove in the sectionals. Do you remember? Yes, I'm sure you do. Now, Carl, I'm gonna point something out here, people. They don't watch every practice, and they didn't see every practice. Carl had a tendency, when she ran the floor, to evidently trip over the lines occasionally as she ran line drills and other kinds of drills. So here we are, real clutch time in the game. Our point guard, top point guard in the state of Illinois, all-stater Melissa Parker, dribbling down the floor. I'm not sure if we were up by 1, 2. Thanks, Sharp. Sharp's got a better memory than I do. Takes it to about the little closer to the free throw line, pulls up, shoot it, Parker. No. Parker passes it to our Carl over here. The shot goes up. The coaches are looking at each other on the bench like, oh no. Well, it went in. That was the shot, and that won the game. Sometimes people might be a little bit unselfish, but Parker certainly was one of them. Congratulations on that shot. Don't forget it. I'm sure you won't. Next up, Anna Halleck. Anna, junior transfer from St. Ed's. Gave us a lot of rebounding power, strong inside moves, faced tremendous, and a top, can't even read my writing, but I wrote it down here. She was a tremendous contributor throughout the season, and she's the one that really got this together today for all our players to make sure they're here. And congratulations, Anna, on a tremendous season. And that was as a junior. She also has great memories of that state tournament and our hangout at Lucas at ISU. Susie Smith. Susie Smith was a 4-year starter at guard, all-conference player. Only knew one speed. I tried to slow her down, and that was fast and faster and fastest. Tremendous shooter and defender. Now, the slowest player on our team, Tina Wenkaitis. Also a starting guard, 4-year starter, all conference. No, she's the fastest player on the team, although occasionally she needed a little bit of encouragement. She was the best on-ball defender I have seen in my coaching days at Elgin High School. I coached a few years. Carissa Turek, no relation. She was an excellent three-point shooter, had 2 super games in the sectionals. She made a big defensive play in the first game of the sectionals on Abby Willenberg, which tied her up. Abby Willenberg's about 3 times the size of Carissa, and certainly helped that game and helped us move on. Next, the shortest player on our team, Leslie Schock. I'm telling you, these girls have grown since high school, I tell you. I always told Leslie, don't stand by me during the national anthem, stand as far away. 4-year starter, one of the top all-staters that went on to star at Northwestern University. And I'm telling you, Leslie, I'm still looking for all those lunches that you stole from me, because I probably lost 10 pounds because I wasn't able to find my lunches, and I know it was you, and you know it was you. Leslie was a great post player, and quite honestly, she could have played guard if we needed her to. We didn't, but she could have. Last but not least, Melissa Parker. Okay, shall we just say this is the straw that stirred the drink? This is the point guard that made everybody better. All-stater, went on to be a great point guard at the University of Illinois. All right, I'd like to recognize somebody else. Last but not least, my brother from another mother, Coach Scharf. Thanks again for all your calming knowledge that you passed along, Coach Scharf, and the great rapport you had with our players. I'm so glad we could have this ride together, and it was a whole lot of fun. Thanks for the memories, everybody. Thank you.